The xenobiology lab on Kepler Station buzzed with frustrated energy as Dr. Marcus Webb examined the bite marks on his forearm through the reinforced glass partition. The three hatchlings, no larger than house cats but infinitely more dangerous, had drawn blood through his biosuit's synthetic weave. Their iridescent scales shifted from deep emerald to warning crimson as they paced within their containment unit. "Third incident this week," muttered Dr. Elena Vasquez, the station's lead xenobiologist, as she applied a healing patch to Webb's wound. "They've attacked every researcher, technician, and security officer who's attempted contact. The bite force readings are off the charts. 2,400 psi from creatures weighing barely 3 kilograms each." The specimens had arrived from the mineral-rich moons of Tau Ceti b, discovered in crystalline eggs buried deep within asteroid mining shafts. Initial scans revealed a silicon-based physiology unlike anything in the galactic databases. Their breath contained trace amounts of methane and sulfur compounds, and their body temperature registered at 47 degrees Celsius, hot enough to trigger thermal alarms. Webb flexed his bandaged arm. "The neural mapping shows complex cognitive patterns. They're not just aggressive, they're calculating. Watch how they coordinate their attacks, always leaving one to guard while the others strike." Through the observation window, the creatures moved with predatory grace. Their elongated necks swayed hypnotically, and membrane wings, still too small for flight, fluttered with barely contained energy. Needle-sharp claws scraped against the titanium steel flooring, leaving microscopic scratches that shouldn't have been possible. "Station Command wants them transferred to the Military Research Division on Europa," Vasquez said, her voice heavy with resignation. "If we can't establish communication protocols within 72 hours, they become weapons research." The lab fell silent except for the soft hum of life support systems and the occasional hiss from the hatchling's containment unit. Both scientists knew that transferring the creatures would likely mean their destruction, dissection in the name of defensive applications. It was 0300 hours when James Murphy began his cleaning rotation in the xenobiology sector. The night janitor moved quietly through the darkened corridors, his cleaning cart's wheels squeaking softly against the metal flooring. At 62 years old, Murphy had worked maintenance on various stations for 3 decades, invisible to most of the scientific staff, who barely acknowledged his presence. The lab's motion sensors activated as he entered, casting harsh white light across the research stations. Murphy glanced at the containment unit and paused. The 3 hatchlings sat motionless, their scales a deep, peaceful blue he hadn't seen in the security footage. "Well now," he whispered, setting down his mop. "What's got you all worked up, little ones?" He approached slowly, not with the clinical precision of the researchers, but with the patient calm of someone who had spent years coaxing feral cats from station ventilation systems. The hatchlings watched him, their large golden eyes tracking his movement without the aggressive tension they'd shown everyone else. Murphy sat cross-legged on the floor beside their enclosure, close enough that the creatures could have easily reached him through the feeding slot. Instead, they pressed against the transparent aluminum, their scales shifting to warm amber hues. "You're scared," he said softly. "All this poking and prodding, bright lights and strange smells. Just babies, aren't you?" The largest hatchling, distinguished by a ridge of silver scales along its spine, made a sound Murphy had never heard in the recorded observations. Not a hiss or growl, but something almost musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Without thinking, Murphy reached toward the feeding slot. The researchers would have called him insane, but instinct guided his weathered hand through the opening. The silver-ridged hatchling approached cautiously, sniffed his fingers, then settled its warm body against his palm. Within minutes, all 3 creatures had somehow maneuvered through the feeding slot, their bodies more flexible than anyone had realized, and curled up in Murphy's lap like oversized, scaly kittens. Their internal heat warmed him through his work uniform, and their soft chirping filled the sterile lab with something resembling contentment. Dr. Vasquez found them there at dawn, the gruff janitor fast asleep with 3 alien predators sleeping peacefully in his arms, their scales now a gentle lavender that pulsed slowly with their synchronized breathing.